Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the graduation ceremony for graduates of the Faculty of Nursing and Health Sciences. In a few minutes, the graduation ceremony will commence. The procession of staff will enter first. After a brief pause, fanfares will begin to announce the entry of the day's party. I will signal to you by this action that you are to rise and remain standing until both the staff procession and the day's party are seated. Please do not stand until I ask you to. May I also remind you that flash photography is prohibited in this auditorium. For the mutual comfort and enjoyment of all members of the audience, the university requests your cooperation in observing this rule. Thank you.
Good evening all, graduates, friends, parents and the official party. It is a custom for Griffith University and its guests to gather to celebrate the conferral of academic awards on its graduates. These occasions hold special significance for our graduates and for their families and their friends, and certainly for the entire university community. On behalf of the Chancellor of Griffith University, it is my pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to everyone present, and in particular to offer congratulations to each of our graduates. It is also the custom for Griffith University to bestow the degree of Doctor of the University in recognition of distinguished service to the Australian community. Tonight, we honour Miss Nancy Wake, GM, the distinguished war veteran whose courage and commitment to the Allied cause has been internationally recognised. More will be said about Miss Wake in a formal way later in the proceedings. In the meantime, I extend to her a very special welcome, and we are delighted that she is able to share with us this very important occasion in the life of Griffith University. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with a higher education institute which is as progressive and innovative in its outlook as Griffith University is. The recent National Quality Assurance Review ranked Griffith in the first band, confirming it as one of the nation's top universities. This first band placing reflects not only our vigorous adoption of quality improvement policies, but also the university's genuine commitment to the pursuit of excellence, academic rigour, student welfare, equity and intellectual freedom. Tonight's graduates are from the Faculty of Nursing and Health Science. This faculty has experienced rapid growth over the past 3 years, with student intake numbers doubling every 12 months. This reflects the tremendous growth in student numbers overall at the university's Gold Coast campus, which is the fastest growing of our campuses. To meet the resulting demand for additional physical resources, the university has embarked upon a substantial capital works program at the Gold Coast campus. This includes the provision of a new community building, an engineering building and an information services centre. There are also plans to build a magnificent new sporting precinct. All of these projects are aimed at ensuring the maintenance of quality across all elements and levels of operation at the university, including the provision of first-class facilities. The Faculty of Nursing and Health Science continues to experience strong demand, and tonight marks the graduation of the faculty's largest cohort of nursing students. This level of demand is indicative of the faculty's exceptionally high standing both within the university and the community. Its quality is perhaps best reflected by the fact that nursing at Griffith University has now the highest entry score of any university in Australia for this discipline. Over the past 12 months, the faculty has responded to the increasing and ever-changing needs of its students by the implementation of a number of structural changes, as well as the successful development of several new courses. In 1994, 3 new schools were created within the faculty: the schools of Nursing, Health Science and Exercise Science. To complement this new and improved school structure, 3 professorial staff were appointed. Professor Greg Cass was appointed Foundation Chair and Head of the School of Exercise Science, while Dr. Richard Telford was appointed as Adjunct Professor to the same school. Associate Professor Roger Willis was appointed Head of the School of Health Science. A graduate diploma in clinical nursing and a Masters of Clinical Nursing were offered for the first time last year. Both programs were formulated to fill a large gap in national postgraduate nursing education by allowing students to specialise in the areas of critical care, emergency care, community mental health and perioperative care. The faculty will also be introducing a Bachelor of Health Science Honours and a Bachelor of Exercise Science Honours from 1996. Courses in sports medicine, in physiotherapy, in rehabilitation and in clinical biochemistry are also being planned for the near future. The faculty enjoys an excellent reputation for research and was awarded a number of significant grants for 1995. Associate Professor Pierre Bourne, Dean of the Faculty, received funds of $120,000 from the National Medical Rotary Research Fund and $1.2 million to conduct suicide prevention research. A further $440,000 was received from the Queensland Health Department, $250,000 from the National Health and Medical Research Council and $60,000 from the Heart Foundation to support various faculty research projects. Such grants are a significant indication of the esteem in which a faculty's work is held by peers and colleagues, and we congratulate the faculty for its achievements. Another significant development in Griffith's relationship with industry has been the establishment of the Griffith University Medical Centre Southport Clinic. Let me return now to the important focus of tonight, to the students who have completed their studies and who are to receive their awards tonight. You have demonstrated a command of the knowledge and skills necessary for your chosen field of endeavour, as well as a willingness to persist with a high level of discipline needed for high achievement in any field. Together, these qualities provide an excellent foundation for establishing a successful career. You, our graduates tonight, join an impressive company of people who have gone before and who have already achieved success and acclaim both in Australia and overseas. As our new graduates, you will, I am sure, make an equal contribution. As we continue with this evening's proceedings, I express warm congratulations to each of you and extend to you our best wishes for your lives ahead. I now call on the Pro-Vice Chancellor and Director, Gold Coast University College, Professor Michael Irving, to present the Director's report on the activities of the campus during 1994.
Deputy Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, Miss Nancy Wake, distinguished guests and graduating students. 1994 has seen the Gold Coast University College of Griffith University continue to expand and consolidate its position as the largest provider of quality tertiary education in the region. Total student enrolments in 1994 were 3,500, and the campus was significantly over-enrolled due to very strong demand for courses in both nursing and health sciences and business. There was a 20% increase in offers to AP16 to school leavers, and the entrance standards for the Bachelor of Arts in Psychology were the highest in Australia. All faculties established positions for Deputy Deans teaching and learning as part of the university's commitment to quality learning and teaching. Extensive consultations with the professions and the regional community preceded final approval for new courses which were offered in 1995, which were the Bachelor of Arts, the Bachelor of Health Science, the Bachelor of Exercise Science, the Bachelor of Information Technology, and the Bachelor of Arts Communication, and in addition, new majors in ecotourism and environmental science in the Bachelor of Science degree. New postgraduate courses in hotel and tourism management and nursing specialisations were also developed in 1994. An educational multimedia unit was established under the leadership of Professor Richard Smith, and staff from all 4 faculties on the Gold Coast have been developing new multimedia programs to complement existing teaching and learning practices. It was particularly pleasing to note that the 1993 Graduation Destination Survey identified that graduates from our Griffith Gold Coast campus had a full-time employment rate which was 20% above the national average. The hotel management course was again awarded the top industry training prize at the annual Queensland Tourism Awards. The academic profile of the Gold Coast University College of Griffith University came of age in 1994 with all 4 faculties enrolling honours and postgraduate research students. As a result of these activities, enrolments of postgraduate research students have more than doubled in 1995, and our first research masters and PhD students will graduate this year. Staff at all faculties won major nationally competitive research grants and consultancies. 6 new professors were appointed in 1994. Professor Lockman Meir for a chair in accounting, Professor Drew Nesdale for a chair in psychology, Professor Thomas Muller for a chair in marketing, Professor Greg Gass and Professor Richard Telford, both chairs in exercise science, and Professor Yu Che Lu for our foundation chair in civil and construction engineering. In addition, significant numbers of junior academic staff have received grants for time release to enable them to fast-track their research qualifications. A major program of increasing library holdings occurred in 1994. With the assistance of additional funding from the faculties, the Directorate, the Vice-Chancellor and the Division of Information Services, there was a 21% increase in monograph acquisitions and an additional 221 new serial subscriptions. The Deans of the Gold Coast faculties deserve special mention for contributing over $250,000 from faculty funds to enhance library holdings. The campus librarian, Ms Kathy Grigic, resigned to accept a position in Brisbane, and we're particularly appreciative of her leadership and guidance in establishing quality services in our library. We also welcome, though, her replacement, Mr Ian Somerville from the State Library of Tasmania, as our new campus librarian, who already has made a significant impact in terms of quality services on our campus. Information Technology Services completed an information technology network on the campus during 1994, and all staff are on email and have access to internet. Video conferencing facilities were successfully installed, and we now have joint conferences with our Nathan campuses in Brisbane, as well as interstate and international conferences and teaching. Computer laboratories have been upgraded and are now among the best equipped in Queensland universities. 1994 has seen the commencement of the first new buildings since amalgamation with Griffith University. The Amenities Building, which has been jointly funded by the university and the Student Representative Council, was commenced in September and is due for completion at the end of 1995. This building will accommodate state-of-the-art teaching facilities for hotel management, as well as providing a student refectory and a number of commercial shops for student purposes, and also housing for the student union. In addition, Stage 1 of the engineering building has been approved and construction is about to commence. This building will be a state-of-the-art building for civil and construction engineering, and it is anticipated that the building will be ready for occupation in January 1996. In addition, in June, Stage 1 of the information library building will commence, and total expenditure for the three projects will exceed $14 million. In 1994, 350 international students were registered on our Gold Coast campus. The International Colours Night was one highlight of the year, as was the graduation ceremony in Hong Kong. New collaborative ventures with universities in England, Indonesia, Thailand, Korea and Japan were established in 1994. As a result of strong local, state and federal representation, the Gold Coast campus was allocated an additional 100 growth-funded places for 1995. It is the view of the Gold Coast campus that a minimum of an additional 250 places per year are required for the remainder of the decade if we are to provide equitable access for tertiary education in this region. Despite continued representation, the state government is not prepared to donate extra land for expansion of our campus. Tonight I'd like to pay special tribute to Associate Professor Pierre Bone, who is the Foundation Head of the School of Nursing and the Foundation Dean of the Faculty of Nursing and Health Sciences at our Gold Coast campus. Pierre has indicated that he wishes later in this year to step down as the Dean of the Faculty to become the Director of the Australian Institute for Suicide Research and Prevention, and this will be his last graduation ceremony as Foundation Dean of the Faculty of Nursing and Health Sciences. Pierre came to the Gold Coast College of Advanced Education from the University of Canberra, where he was a senior lecturer in nursing in my faculty at that time. And he approached me and asked me what I thought about him coming to the Gold Coast. And I said it was a unique opportunity to establish a vibrant, multidisciplinary faculty of health, and that I thought that he had excellent leadership potential to be able to ensure that that occurred. He commenced duties here as the Foundation Head of School of Nursing in July 1989 and was appointed the Dean of the Faculty of Nursing and Health Sciences in December of that year. In 1990, 50 nursing students were enrolled in the School of Nursing. This year, the current enrolment in the faculty is 900. And there are 3 schools in the faculty: a School of Nursing, a School of Exercise Science, and a School of Health Science. And we have clearly identified that the health directions initiated at the Gold Coast are going to continue to grow and expand as one of the quality offerings of Griffith University. I would like to pay tribute to Pierre's leadership tonight. It is a very difficult role to establish a new school and a new faculty, particularly in a period of rapid growth and, of course, amalgamations with Griffith University. He's provided outstanding leadership, and I think it's also to his great credit that he has founded and established and raised the funds for the Australian Centre for Suicide Research and Prevention, which is a joint research facility between Griffith University and the Queensland Department of Health. We will obviously miss Pierre and his entrepreneurial ways, but we have every confidence that the leadership he will provide to his research centre will be the best interest of not only the university but the population of Queensland and Australia. As the Deputy Chancellor has indicated, 1994 was an excellent year for Griffith University. In particular, our ranking in the top band of Australian universities for quality teaching and learning. This is an important national confirmation of the quality of education at this university. The Gold Coast campus played a significant role in this accreditation, with our business and hotel management faculty being one of 2 faculties in this university which were intensively evaluated by the Quality Assurance Committee. Although the university can be justly proud of these achievements, no university can aspire to these ideals without the commitment to and the ownership of quality educational processes by a highly motivated student body. Quality university education is an interactive process between teachers and students where the collective output exceeds the combined input. And I would like to pay special tribute to our graduating students who have so richly contributed to the academic life of our campus and university. From our humble origins in the catacombs of Surfers Paradise State School, we now have a vibrant academic community at our Parklands campus, which is of the highest standards, due largely to the pursuit of excellence by our student body. On behalf of my academic colleagues, I would like to congratulate you on your achievements and to thank you for working with us to ensure that the Gold Coast University College of Griffith University can rightly claim to provide relevant, quality tertiary education of the highest standard to citizens of the Gold Coast and surrounding regions. I encourage you to keep in contact with your university through the alumni chapter, and I look forward to seeing you all prosper in your chosen careers. Thank you.
I now call on the Dean of the Faculty of Nursing and Health Sciences, Associate Professor Pierre Baum, to present graduates from that faculty who are to receive their awards at this ceremony.
Deputy Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Nursing. Ivy Olshar. Vivian Andrews. Marie Arace. Christina Armitage. Tanya Elwood. Kylie Bade. Tracy Bowl. Susan Valentine. Jennifer Barlow. Alison Bell. Elise Bell. Bernadette Bellas. Tracy Bennett. Diana Bethune. Alison Bibby. Tracy Lynn Bishop. Carmen Bond. Stephanie Brady. Colleen Brazier. Lisa Brown. Sonia Brown. Amanda Buckman. Kerry Bakowski. Patricia Barrows. Margarita Castle. Karen Chapman. Mark Chapman. Darren Clark. Jennifer Clark. Sarah Clements. Vicky Coffey. Francis Colahan. Janine Copland. Catherine Caulfield. Andrew Daly. Jim Donahue. Annette Elan. Kylie Ellicott. Cornelia Empen. Cliff Evans. Alison Fielding Price. Licia Finlayson. Damien Flenley. Jan Foster. Juliana Friedrich. Keith Fife. Helen Garrity. Anne Godwin. Rebecca Goodchap. Nicole Gordon. Janita Graham. Patricia Grant. Jane Griffith. Susan Griffiths. Natasha Grönig. Shana Habricken. Suzanne Housley. Rebel Hamilton. Janice Hansen. Lynn Harewood. Tony Marie Hannaway. Vicky Holman. Darren Holmes. Kathleen Horn. Diane Howard. Elizabeth Howard. Lindo Lika Chitik. Heather James. Roseanne Jane. Christine Jensen. Anita Jones. Megan Jones. Karen Keel. Robert Kladnik. Mandy Knight. Andrea Kruger. Lois Quip. Alicia Kunst. Michelle Lewin. Susie Lewis. Judith Lockwood. Michael Lowe. Rachel Lynch. Alison McKee. Kylie McGowan. Hurley Malcolm. Amanda McCann. Jessica MacDonald. Carol McKinstry. Shannon McNeil. Jay Menzies. Audrey Mexton. Kathleen Monaghan. Penny Moon. Ruth Moores. Christopher Murdoch. Elizabeth Murphy. Fiona Murray. Glenda Nelson. Belinda Jane Newton. Terry O'Connell. Gabrielle O'Grady. Linda Jean Perkins. Lisa Perry. Robin Peters. Catherine Peterson. Tammy Fortinos. Karen Pidd. Glenys Prain. Simon Quinton. Ramamurthy Raju. Scott Ramsey. Leslie Reed. Gerard Robards. Jennifer Robb. Lisa Roberts. Chris Robertson. Linda Ross. Yvonne Sampson. Julia Sangaran. Rachel Saunders. Ruth Shaif. Lara Schneider. Sharon Schofield. Elizabeth Scott. Mandy Smith. Leanne Spark. Donna Standring. Belinda Stevens. Meryl Stewart. Maureen Sweeney. Dale Tan. Marissa Tout. Louise Wadle. Margaret Watson. Florence West. Michelle Wilkie. Pauline Wilson. Judy Wilton. Cindy Wong. Madeline Woods. Amanda Wright. Kelly Wallace. Deputy Chancellor, the medal for achievement in the bachelor's degree course may be awarded annually to the graduate with the highest academic achievement in the bachelor's degree course. The medal is not awarded if there is no candidate of sufficient merit. Deputy Chancellor, I am pleased to present to you the graduate who has been granted the 1994 Nursing Medal, Heather K. James. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Community Mental Health Nursing, Damon Atzeni. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Critical Care Nursing. Sean Bergen. Christine Corborn. Tracy Coman. Jennifer Day. Julie Dawson. Nadine Fernley. Annette Ferris. Adele Fisher. Jodie Hanley. Jean Harris. Elizabeth Hayes. Margaret Jens. Charles Lowe. Jane Lobigier. Paula Longbottom. Kylie MacDonald. Lorraine McMurtry. Victoria Parker. Adrienne Parry. Darren Pinola. Christopher Rains. Karen Shirley. Judith Skinner. Kath Tucker. Maria van der Weyer. Anna Weir. Wendy Westling. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Emergency Nursing. Darlene Berwick. Roderick Cross. Jane Johnston. Anne King. Patty Marcos. Nancy Milway. John O'Sullivan. Janet Presnell. Leanne Ratz. Julie Richardson. Linda Schroeder. Fiona Sorby. Joanne Timms. Linda Wimpenny. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Palliative Care Nursing. Sonia Aiton. Ria DeRoe. Robin Freeman. Tracy Gordon. Leonie Harper. Amanda Crook. Vicky Livett. Karen McConaughey. Leslie MacDonald. Melissa Neary. Fiona Smith. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you two graduates who have been granted the Master of Clinical Nursing in Critical Care. Alison Dewes. Livon Chum. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been granted the Master of Clinical Nursing in Emergency. Suzanne Lumsden. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been granted the Master of Clinical Nursing in Peri-Operative Care, Jennifer Pompetti. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Nursing and Health Sciences.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a brief musical interlude performed by the Queensland Conservatorium of Music Brass Quintet.
With the authority of the Council of Griffith University, I shall now confer the degree of Doctor of the University. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Webb, to make this presentation.
Deputy Chancellor, the Council of the University has resolved to award the degree of Doctor of the University to Miss Nancy Wake, BN. Nancy Wake was born in Wellington, New Zealand in August 1912 and educated at North Sydney Girls High School and Queen's College for Ladies in London. She left Sydney in her early 20s, seeking the excitement of life in New York, London and Paris, and finally settled in the French capital. As a young freelance journalist based in Paris in the late 1930s, Nancy Wake was uniquely placed to travel and see the rise of fascism in Europe and witness the disturbing events which culminated in the Second World War. Married to a French businessman in 1939, she was as yet unaware of the Holocaust that would engulf the world and inspire her to incredible deeds of bravery and heroism. With the onset of war, her excellent command of the French language became a valuable asset, particularly in her work as a courier and member of the Allied Escape Route Organisation. Operating in occupied France from 1940 to 1943, an intrepid Nancy Wake played a crucial role in organising the successful escape of many Allied airmen shot down in battle. She performed her duties with so much zeal, efficiency and bravery that the Gestapo placed her on their most wanted list, codenaming her the White Mouse. It is estimated that more than 1,000 Allied airmen escaped through the efforts of the French resistance. The success of Nancy Wake's activities put her own life in jeopardy, and she was eventually forced to make a dramatic escape across the Pyrenees to Spain en route to London. Here she trained as a member of the Special Operations Executive, and on 29 February 1944 parachuted into Auvergne, deep in occupied France. This was the first of many special assignments with the French resistance, which would see Nancy Wake rise to become the most decorated Australian woman of World War II. As a Special Operations guerrilla fighter, her mission was to arm, organise and lead the Marquis, the French resistance fighters, against the German forces. She pursued her dangerous assignment with a fearless and hard-edged sense of purpose. In charge of finance and the allocation of weapons to groups of resistance fighters, she maintained radio contact with London and organised parachute drops of supplies, as well as selecting targets for attack. Having unconditionally embraced France and her people, Nancy Wake was totally committed to the desperate fight for freedom. Her buoyant and resilient character led to great deeds in defence of her beloved adopted country. Her actions reflected a long-held belief that a free world could only remain free by defending itself against any form of aggression. Despite anger and continual threat of capture, she declared that she never once felt fear during her exploits with the French resistance. "I was well trained and I was careful," she once said. "I was cautious, but I was never afraid." After the Second World War, Nancy Wake continued to play a significant role, undertaking valuable work for the British government and the United Nations. As Executive Officer of the British Foreign Office, she was attached to the embassies at Paris and Prague from 1946 to 1948, and as a RAF officer, served with the Air Ministry Intelligence Branch in London from 1952 to 1958, lecturing to reserve units on evasion and escape, among other duties. The courageous efforts of Nancy Wake, now Mrs. John Forward, during the Second World War have been internationally recognised. She received Britain's highest bravery honour, the George Medal, and was awarded France's Croix de Guerre with Palm and Bar, the Croix de Guerre with Star, the Médaille de la Résistance, the Cross of the Officier de la Légion d'Honneur, as well as America's Medal of Freedom with Bronze Palm. She is patron of the Council of Ex-Servicewomen's Associations of Victoria and vice patron of the Airborne and Special Forces Veterans Association of New South Wales. In 1985, her autobiography titled The White Mouse vividly portrayed her exploits. Her remarkable life is also recorded in Russell Braddon's biography and has been made the subject of both television documentaries and a mini-series. It is especially fitting that the Council of Griffith University should honour Nancy Wake Forward in recognition of her distinguished service to the Allied forces during the Second World War. Deputy Chancellor, it is a great pleasure that I present to you Nancy Wake Forward for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now call upon Mrs. Nancy Wake, GM, and now Doctor of the University, to deliver the occasional address.
Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Mayor Logan, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I must admit that this night will be forever in my mind. I never at any time in my life imagined that I could receive such an honour. It's really hard for me to believe it, but it's happened and I'm very happy and honoured. I have always regretted the fact that I was never able to have a university education. But in the late 20s I should say, there was a very big depression looming in Australia. And as I was the youngest one of a family of 6, there was definitely no money to send me to university. I have regretted that all my life. But I did the next best thing. I travelled a lot. I went to a lot of countries, met a lot of people, so that in a way has made up for it. But I envy the graduates tonight, and I hope that you have a wonderful life ahead of you. Years ago, when I'd just come back to Sydney with my husband, and television was just coming in, and I heard that they were having what they called in New South Wales the School of Summer Science. And I said to John, you go out and buy a television quickly, because I want to listen to this. And it went on for a week on television every morning, and I didn't bother about housekeeping. I just went to listen to the television. And Professor Messel opened it, and he was absolutely wonderful. And they had chosen the 150 students, both girls and boys, the ones who had passed with honours the leaving certificate. And he said to them, education is a very important thing. In a few years, it will not be able to get in the world by getting 100 out of 100. You will have to have extra achievements. And you can see how true this is becoming. And this is why I think you're all very lucky that you've had this education. You know, there was a very funny thing when I read that this was going to be a thing about nursing and the health. Because what you people don't know is that I am an honorary member of the Norwegian Nursing Association. And in a few minutes I'll try and tell you how it happened. Well, when I did my leaving certificate, I was fed up of staying at home. My mother was terribly religious, and it really gave me a pain in the neck. And I decided I'd run away from home. So off I went, and I left Sydney. I tried to get a job. I tried to get a job in a hospital as a probationer, but I didn't have money to buy my uniforms. And they told me that if I went to one of these country places, which is very primitive, they would pay for my uniforms and I could repay them as I worked. So off I went to the country. I changed my name, and it always amuses me nowadays when I hear people say that they met me in that country, because Nancy Wake was never where. It was Shirley Kennedy that was there. But people try and tell me that they met me there. Anyway, it was a very, very primitive hospital. There was no matron. There was a local woman who was a sister, and she frightened the life out of me. She was really a tigress. And now, I didn't know anything about nursing, but I went on, and there was another girl there with me who had also run away from home. And they had a morgue at the back of this hospital. And one man died. We had nothing to do with it. And the sister who was going off duty said, well, you two must take the corpse to the morgue. Well, we were both petrified, and we didn't know what to do. And my friend she said, maybe if we drink some of this neat spirits, it'll give us courage. So we had a swig of this, 90% alcohol. It tasted dreadful. And we got the corpse, and we took it out, and we were just crossing this muddy path, earthy path, when an enormous storm came on, lightning and everything. Well, the fact that we were inebriated and scared didn't make any difference. We all fell in the mud. The corpse was black, we were black, and we were drunk. And we tried to pick it up, and we were frightened that the tigress would come back and we'd get into trouble. Somehow we got over that. We washed him up and we put him in a thing there. And in those days, there were a lot of Chinese in that part, and there was one very nice little Chinaman who was a laundress. So I shot up there in the middle of the night and woke him up and I said, "We're in trouble. You've got to wash our uniforms." So we got away with it. But when it was over, when we both turned 18, because when you were 18, you were not forced to go home in those days, as long as you had an honest job. So I went back to Sydney and I swore I would never have anything to do with nursing again. And then after the war, I stayed in Europe for a while and I thought, well, I'll come home to Australia. And I saved up enough money, and I didn't have to pay a lot of money for the transport, because the shipping was very, very heavy in those days, and people were paying 4 times the passage fare. I was able to tell them that I was going home to return, so I think my first class passage was £250, which was nothing. And then I was in the Special Forces Club in London, and some of the Norwegian boys came in and they said, "Oh, if somebody says you're going to Australia, why?" I said, "Well, I don't seem to be getting on here. I think I'll go home and see my friends." "How are you going?" I said, "I'm going by ship." So this chap said, "You're mad. You're mad. You can do Morse code. I'll get you a job as a radio operator on one of our Norwegian ships, taking refugees." So I thought that was wonderful. So a few days afterwards, I got a message to say I had to be in Genoa in 3 days. And I had a girlfriend who was she was so unhappy in London because she had no family and I was going away. And I said, "Well, Kathleen, look, I'm working my passage home. I'm going as a radio operator. I'll give you the money and you can do it in style." And I remember she said, "But how am I going to pay you back?" I said, "Well, when you get to Australia, you're going to marry a rich grazier and you're going to keep me in luxury." And do you know what she did? She married my poor brother. She couldn't have got anybody else. Anyway, then disaster happened. The union wouldn't let me go as a radio operator because I hadn't been in a merchant ship or a refugee ship. So I didn't know what to do. They were stuck there. So this man from Norway said, "Well, you could go as a nurse." I said, "Oh, no. He said, "But you know about first aid." I said, "Yes, but that's not nursing." But I was desperate, so I thought, "Oh, well, I'll take a chance." And I got to Genoa to find that the Italian banks had closed and there was a strike on for 3 weeks. And I was stuck in a hotel and I had no money. I had money, but I couldn't change it. I couldn't pay my bill. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was thinking that I might end up in some terrible thing in Genoa. And anyway, the strike was over. And the pastry cook on this refugee ship had been stuck in Genoa for 3 weeks. And on a couple of voyages beforehand, he had contracted one of those nasty little diseases and he'd had trouble with his wife. And he was petrified that he'd done it again. And the Norwegian doctor, he didn't... oh, by the way, when I was introduced to the captain of the ship, they introduced me not as Nurse Nancy, but as Sister Nancy. I don't know how it happened. Anyway, I thought, well, the Norwegian doctor didn't speak much English, and I certainly didn't speak Norwegian. And then the pastry cook came in. I tell you this, I never had any of his pastry on that trip. He came in and the doctor says, "Take a specimen." And I said, "What do you mean a specimen?" He said, "Well, take a specimen." So I didn't know what he was talking about. And he got really cranky with me. And he pointed to a machine. He says, "You're looking there and if it's got little things wiggling, that's it." So I looked in it and then he says, "Yes, he's got it." And then he said, "You'll have to give him an injection." Well, that terrified. I had never given an injection in my life. So I thought, well, I'm going to go all over the ship and I'm going to, so I was a nurse for the crew, not for the passengers, and I'm going to, be nice to the crew and keep out of the way, and the doctor can do it. But the tannoy was coming over all the time. Report to the sick bay, Nancy, Sister Nancy. So eventually I had to go to the sick bay, and I'll never forget it. As I opened the door, there was a doctor giving him an injection in the bum. I would have given it in the arm. But I didn't get found out. And then finally we set sail, and then the doctor said to me, well, now you've got to make all these bandages for any kind of accident. And he showed me a great big cupboard where there was a whole lot of gauze in it, and I could do square ones and that, but all these little ones there and there and there, I couldn't do it, you see. So I did a whole lot of them, and then I thought, well, this is it. So I threw the rest of it all out in the Indian Ocean. Then I had to sterilise them, and I didn't know how to sterilise them. So the chief engineer was very nice, very cuppish. So I told him that I only could sterilise things in some special thing, and he did it for me. I always believe in delegating my duties if I can. Now, there was a young engineer on it. He used to pull my leg like anything, and pull it. And I thought, well, I'll get even with you one of these days. And he'd got a cold, and he was in the cabin with his mate. And I thought, well, this is it. So I went down to him and I said, Dr. Sorensen says you've got to drink this. And he drank it. I said, you know what that was? Epsom salts. Then we were crossing the line, and I thought he's going to get me. So I went to the cook, our cook for the crew, and I said, Cookie, he's going to be after me. He said, don't you worry. I'll lock you in my cabin. So I escaped there. But my theory was, always the cool hand on the brow. You poor boy, you'll be better soon. Listen to all their troubles. Oh, be cheerful and everything, you see, and it worked. And I finally got to Sydney. And I got a little flat. And in England, something had been sent from England about me, and it was printed in the papers in Sydney. And the milkman came to see me one day. And he said, I read that you were confirmed in St. Augustine's Church. I said, yes. He said, well, I was confirmed the same year. I didn't see you. So I said, well, you must have been one of those nasty little boys that my mother told me not to play with. But I never was short of milk. Everybody else in the block was short, but I was always. And his name was Jack Roberts. And several weeks afterwards, the matron of the Merchant Hospital, Merchant Marine Hospital in Sydney, rang me and said Jack Roberts was in hospital and wanted to see me. So I thought, now what on earth is Jack Roberts, the milkman, doing in the hospital? I went down there, and you know who it was? It was the cook from the ship. And he was in sick, and he said we had a sister Nancy. She was absolutely wonderful. The men adored her. She was so kind to them. And the matron thought, well, she needed somebody extra on the board. She thought, well, she'll try and get me on it. See, I could have been on the board. Well, I told her the truth. I didn't tell Jack Roberts the truth, but I told the matron, and she became a firm friend of mine. Anyway, eventually I went back to England, and I told the Norwegians what they had done to me, and they thought that was funny. And 3 days afterwards, I received my certificate stating that Sister Nancy was a valued member of the Norwegian nursing system. You see, you can always bluff your way if you're lucky. Always bluff your way, but I've never forgotten it. So no, I hope you never get into that place. You know what a specimen is. But it was wonderful to come up here. And I went to the campus today, and I thought how wonderful it was. Seemed to me it was a bit small. It was sort of, getting a bit small, but I suppose the authorities have realised that, and they're making some attempt to. I hope, does it fall on good ears? But seriously, I was most impressed. I'm most impressed, and I think that there's be a great future for your university here, and it's such a lovely setting, maybe, take the plate around and find a few rich people to give a bit of money and build another plate. It was wonderful. And there's a lot of land around there, you know. I actually think you should have me up here, and I could talk them into doing it, you know. When I was coming here, I thought, now what on earth am I going to talk about? And I thought, oh, this will be a very serious thing, and I better, but the worst always comes out at me, and I thought, well, why can't I tell them about my experiences as a nurse? I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you, the ones with the hat there, lots of luck in the future. Thank you for listening to me.
Deputy Chancellor, I think perhaps for once I'm stuck. However, it does fall to my honoured duty to attempt to convey to our new Doctor of the University, Nancy Wake, something of the joy we have experienced tonight with her, and something of the inspiration which she has generated in all our hearts and minds. It has been a unique graduation address, I can assure everyone of that. And I've heard a few. A rich anecdotal piece of Australian oral history. I only hope someone had the wit to record it, but I'm not sure whether we did. A swig of 90%, taken before handling your first serious case is, I'm sure, advice which all our nurses tonight will take seriously. I'm hoping that when our time comes to be treated that way, we might enjoy similar treatment, a good cleansing mud bath, followed by a complete wash. Well, it has been a wonderful experience for us all. Nancy said herself she can't believe she's getting this degree. I think we all can't believe the record of her bravery and her daring and her courage and her wit. But I think we can imagine from tonight's talk and our meeting with her tonight what she must have been like over there in amongst the French resistance. And I'm sure it's given us a lot to think about, a lot to take away through our careers, and I'm sure our graduates and our audience tonight want to join again in thanking Nancy Wake for her presence. It's my pleasure to add my own congratulations to those that have already been expressed to all our graduates on their achievement, and to wish them every success in their careers, and ask them to stay with the university and to join the Alumni Association. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of the traditional student song Gadiama Sigatua. You are invited to join in the singing of the song, whose words appear on page 19 of your program. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please remain standing as the dais party, the staff procession and the graduates retire. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I want a group one. Where's, no, I want groups.
Bring your face around that way a little bit. There you go, that's it. Just a smile.
That's